Hey teacher friends! Monica Genta back at it this week with another super heartfelt episode of the teacher vlog. I have invited my good buddy Percy Hill to this episode. He is a retired teacher and an educational consultant, but most importantly, he won the Disney Teacher of the Year. That is an incredible accomplishment, and I totally get why. Because he has a heart for education, and it is continuing to spill out even after retirement. He is sharing with us 2 quick tips on how to create positivity and trust and kindness by using cooperative activities and celebrating education. Now stick around at the end of the episode because speaking of celebrating education, I want to give you 1 extra tool that you can use this week to help you crush it in the classroom. But for now, let's check out this episode with Percy Hill. All right, everybody, I am with my friend Percy Hill. He is an incredible guy who I was super fortunate to meet actually when we were working a conference together in Destin, Florida. So why don't you kind of just start dishing out your ideas that you have? Because I know your first tip is kind of teaching students and adults really about winning and losing gracefully. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, sure. Well, I actually I started as a physical education teacher quite a long time ago, and realized right away that that the kids really want to move, but they actually learn better. They have a better sense of what they're grasping on the information they're receiving if they move with it. So I incorporated learning through activities, and then I decided that we really do need to teach kids how to be kind and respectful to themselves and to others.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've created a whole bunch of activities, and some are borrowed and some are tweaked and so forth, but some are original that actually promote that opportunity for kids to be able to win and not win,
Mm-hmm.
to have success and to be able to try again and do it gracefully, and be able to congratulate others for their accomplishments and
Yeah.
not feel like it always has to be them.
Yeah. Because we do live in a competitive world, and sometimes people are just naturally competitive. But I love the way that you said it, how to win and not win. I think that's an interesting way to phrase it. And I think it's equally important for adults, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think that as a teacher, an experienced teacher, I realized a long time ago that school is not at all for us. You
Mm-hmm.
know, school is really only for kids,
Right.
and that we need to teach that way too. We need to teach that way so that the kids are not competing with us. They're feeling like that they have ownership to their own learning. They have an opportunity to be mentored and to be tutored by adults who are really invested in their successes,
Mm-hmm.
and it really is all about how do we make kids feel successful,
Yeah, totally.
to give them those opportunities to be able to be successful, and also to have opportunities to try again,
Mm-hmm.
because they should, like a non-success should not be the end of the line.
I totally agree. And I think that brings us perfectly into the second tip because you and I are absolutely on the same page about this one. Big believers in simply celebrating education and every single step of the way. So tell us a little bit more about your thoughts on that concept.
Oh, I think that for you and for me for sure, that's a no-brainer. It's something that's really 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 embedded in us. I think that's why we became teachers and working
Mm-hmm.
with kids, because it is a celebration. And every day that I entered my school buildings for over 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was a celebration. Everything that I had in my life was left behind, and those doors opened as a way to tell the kids, "This is your home for today,
Mm-hmm.
and for 180 days if you need it or more. It doesn't really matter. And you are celebrated when you walk through those doors." And I
Yes.
think That's how kids should feel. And I know that in my classroom, which is a physical education classroom, kids were scratching at my door to get in.
Mm-hmm.
They actually ask questions kind of like the menu is, what are you serving today?
Love that.
What's happening today? Because
Uh-huh.
they really want to know, and they want to prepare themselves for those learning opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the fact that you call it your home instead of like it's not your classroom, it's your home. And I think that speaks volumes. I always tell people I don't refer to my student class periods. They're not class periods, they're my families. So I've got a
Right.
second hour family and a fourth hour family. And I think just using terms like that, like this is your home and you are my family, totally helps kids to understand that celebration of education.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and to make it so that that learning is really a lot of fun, and
Mm-hmm.
kids will rise to that occasion. They'll rise to that occasion every time if they know that they're going to be successful,
Yeah.
and they may not have to even think about being as successful as the person right next to them, but their own success manifests itself in how they feel about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's really important.
Yeah. And I have been one of your students before because we were actually speaking at an event together in Florida, and you had originally been assigned to a classroom, and I remember being a part of the conversation where you were like, I could use the whole gymnasium. So we literally moved everyone into the gym and you had everyone interacting and communicating and creating teamwork. And I think I totally got a glimpse of what your classroom and your home was like when you were a teacher, which was awesome. It was so cool.
Well, thank you. I think it's really important when I work with adults, when I work with teachers and paraprofessionals. I love that so much because I take them through the same paces that I would take the kids through. It's just that I work with them to try to help them to understand how to teach by metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
So using activities to get their point across and not to be afraid to fail sometimes.
Yeah.
Because as a teacher, we have to continue to try new things. We
Yes.
have to try new stuff all of the time, never repeating necessarily what we did last year or last month or last week, but to
Mm-hmm.
try methods of how to engage kids in learning how to be really happy about it.
Yes. His mustache is one of my most favorite things in life. In fact, him and I played a game with a group of consultants a couple summers ago. It's the game, where you stick the piece of plastic in your mouth and you're like this, and you have to read cards. Oh my God, it was hysterical. Anyway, that type of passion from Percy is coming out all the time. He literally has a heart of gold and continues to be passionate about this profession even after spending over 40 years in education. One thing that we talked about on the episode is celebrating education, and both Percy and myself are firm believers in this. In fact, that is why I wrote the book 180 Days of Awesome, celebrating every single day of education. This is a playbook to make sure that every single day that you walk into your school, that you are loving that experience as the teacher. You can check this out and other amazing things out on my website, monicagenta.com. But I want to leave you with one final thing. No matter what else you get done this week in your classroom and with your kids, remember that, hey, you got this. Thanks for watching, friends.